Watching Stranger Things brought back a show that everyone watched together, whether by yourself, friends, or family. It was one of those shows that remind you of the time you watched good TV on TV, like cable and stuff, whether you had Time Warner or Dish or whatever it may be. It reminded me of those days because I can remember last time I sat down and watched regular television and watched it constantly for a TV show because there's not really much out there that people really care for when it comes to regular cable television. Even when it's free, when you get your smart TV, whether it's Roku or Tubi, there's nothing people sit down for and watch together as a group like they used to. There's Game of Thrones, I guess, but most people are streaming that on their apps. That ended, but there's this prequel, House of the Dragon. I guess there's that. But Stranger Things felt like it was one of the last. Something that everyone could watch. From a child, from being a teenager, and of course being an adult. And I remember watching it when I was during my early college years, when it came out. When I was living with my aunt. And it was something unique, something that was worth watching on Netflix. Well, then again, there was Orange is the New Black. And ever since then, people were hooked. Stranger Things come out and people were excited about it. We watched season 1 and it felt a lot of boomers and Gen Xers felt like it was a callback to the 80s. You saw the 80s stuff, kids riding their bicycles, the military's involved, and stuff like that. The parents don't know what's going on, and that's what it felt like, those shows back in the day, / movies. And I enjoyed it. I was glad to be a part of that, watching something like that. So a lot of the adults during that time were extremely excited to watch it. Then it ended with 8 episodes. We wanting more. Because I remember them saying back in our day, you used to have 12 to 24 episodes per season, not 8. That's ridiculous. Even with an hour show, you at least had a multitude of episodes. So they weren't used to watching things 8 episodes per season, but now we're used to it. Then season 2 came out a while later, and everyone enjoyed it. Everything but that one episode when they just shoved the sister inside of it. And we never heard from her again. Then episode 3 came along and people were like, well, that was crazy. And then some time has passed. Then season 4 came out. And season 4, in my opinion, was my favorite. Season 4 was my favorite. I loved it. I loved Eddie. I loved the time that Max was running. Elle trying to get her powers back. Vecna being this very dangerous and cruel villain. Season 4 was just, to me, the best. I love season 4. Everything about season 4. I felt like a true horror show this time. You're dealing with an intelligent villain who was like this horror boogeyman, just getting inside people's minds, feeding off their fears and deforming their bodies and stuff as they float, as they look possessed and kill them. And the gang trying to reunite to fight off this evil. It was an amazing season. I love it. I really do. Then came season 5. Years passed though before that. Years passed. Because season 4 came out some time ago. And then it just took years. To the point where the cast grew up, they're adults. Anything we were watching this series since these people were children. They grew up with this show. They grew up with this career and everything. And some of them went off to do different things. So years passed, and it's the point where I did not care. I didn't care anymore. With other shows that I did enjoy that lasted longer, more seasons, and I feel like I enjoyed more. Stuff like Cobra Kai, the sequel to Karate Kid. I enjoyed Cobra Kai a lot. In fact, it's one of my favorite Netflix shows of all time. Then there's, from the animated side, Scissor 7. Oh, y'all know how much I love Scissor 7. Scissor 7 is amazing, dude. And I can't wait to see what they do next. But at least they were constant. Cobra Kai ended with 6 seasons, and Scissor 7 was ending on its 5th season, and we don't know if we'll get a 6th season or a movie for it to finish, or will it continue with another season? We don't know, but I'm still looking forward to it. It came out constant, so you had to wait a long time. Stranger Things was special to Netflix. The Duffel Brothers. They wanted to make sure that this was going to be some amazing epic. And sometimes when you have a simple project that's successful and you get a bigger budget, sometimes that's for the worse. You became too big, too ambitious, to a point what was something that was amazing because it was simple and but yet effective becomes very messy and ineffective. In fact, it damages the name. And one thing I learned when you're watching something or reading something or even playing something, you can have a bad beginning and have a good ending and still be loved. But if you have a good beginning and a bad ending, you are hated and discarded. I mean, look at Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones came out and people loved it. Then when it ended, people hated it because they hated the ending, so therefore it was forgotten and no one really cared about it anymore. That's terrible. Or something like Anoshi no Koi. Anoshi no Koi, if you're a reader in or an anime watcher, you saw the beginning, you love it. It was amazing, it was phenomenal. But then that ending came out, and then everyone hates it. Everyone hated it so badly that even though the 3rd season's coming out, nobody cares about it. That was season 5. Season 5, part 1 came out with 4 episodes, and people enjoyed it. They really did. It has bumps here and there, but it was still enjoyable. They were waiting to see what was happening. They put more characters in it, okay. It was nuts. Some were confused by what was happening compared to what happened at the ending of season 4. They thought things would be more tense at the beginning, but that did not happen. But nonetheless, people were still enjoying it. And then came season 5, part 2. For a lot of people, this is where everything went wrong. Just like The Last Jedi and the Star Wars sequels, that was that. Everything just went wrong. Things, too much dialogue, not enough risk, too many characters, so bloated. Things were happening for no reason. Characters returning that people did not care about, like Elle's sister. And a long narcissistic speech about homosexuality in the West. You see, the thing is, majority of people don't have anything against homosexuality here in the West. The problem is how it's being displayed in entertainment. When it's displayed in entertainment, like when they're having their speeches, it's like they have to stop the entire show, look at the camera, and talk to you about their homosexuality. And that's the problem. It's too narcissistic. It's too preachy. It's like when someone's making a show or a movie and they're trying to tell you how bad capitalism is. It's like you're enjoying a show or movie, then all of a sudden everything stops. And then the thing will look at the camera and says, capitalism is bad. Or it's like in this one, when it comes to Will and Val, the character Will grew up and he was starting to become gay. And we all figured that out a couple of seasons ago. But now, it felt like here, it was just like, we get it, but in the middle of the thing, like, he had to stop and have this very important speech about how he is gay and stuff. And you have this before in the past. You had it in stuff like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where there are gay characters. You had it in some talk shows where they introduced gay characters. But it wasn't the main thing. You found out that they were gay and that was it. And the show continued on. It didn't stop you, it didn't pause you, and to have this long talk to you about it, or when a character's coming out as a different kind of gender or something like that. It wasn't dragged on. It was like, oh, we gotta stop. I gotta talk to you about me transitioning. I gotta talk to you about me coming out. And the way they always do it seems so obnoxious to the point that people just don't enjoy it. The same thing um, anime does. Anime has a lot of gay characters. Hell, last season there were shows with gay couples in it, gay romance, yuri, yaoi, whatever you want to call it. There were those shows. But however, it didn't beat you on the head about how gay they are. It just showed them in their life of how they wanted to, just be like everybody else and just talk, fall in love, and that's it. You found out that character was gay. Okay. You found out that character was a lesbian. Okay. That's it. Some of my favorite shows. I love Girls Bang Cry, and the two main characters are gay. Some of the characters from Love Life are probably gay and stuff. That's just how it is. But they're not beating you on the head with it. They're not lecturing you about it. And I guess that's what a lot of people felt. I'm sure there's people out there who didn't like it, and that's just how it is, That's their worldview and their ideology, That's just how it is. But it dragged the show down. And then came the last part. The last part came out on New Year's Eve, I believe. To the point it was even in theaters. I just found out that thing was in theaters. I didn't know that. And then we watched it. It was like a movie. It was like a 2-hour movie. And it was a 2-hour movie. We sat there and enjoyed it. The beginning, I didn't mind the last part. To tell you the truth, I did not mind it. They went to the world, they explained what it was, what the Upside Down was, who was truly in control, which they have been hinting at for a long time. And now you're fighting that thing that's in control. And the battle itself, in my opinion, wasn't so bad. It was pretty cool. It turned into a kaiju battle and stuff. Fighting L. The rest of the kids were outside, fighting off the creature. And then it dies. The way he died, I had mine. Some people thought they were going to try to do this thing, to try to make him a sympathetic villain, who he isn't the true villain. He isn't, give him a second chance. No, he went full villain all the way, even after finding out what happened to him, which apparently was spoken in much deeper detail in a spin-off or something, which I don't plan on seeing. I am done with this series. It is over. Book closed. It ended. But I would say it had a very good epilogue. I really did enjoy the epilogue. It was nice. Some characters that were there didn't show up in the epilogue, and so we didn't get to see what was happening to them. But I guess they weren't the main focal point. But either way, you gotta see what the main characters did when they grew up or when they graduated. And to me, that was for the best. People moved on, they worried, they kept things open for interpretation, and they saw the next generation sitting down and playing D&D. And apparently this made D&D popular throughout the years. I never played D&D, but it was one of those things where people were made fun of a lot growing up. Same thing with comic books, Marvel, DC, anime, video games. Whatever wasn't in the norm or the trend, people like us were made fun of for enjoying it. But because the man on TV says it's profitable, it's okay, that's okay. So all around, I enjoyed the last part. Didn't care for the middle part, but to me, it had a good ending. It just had that bumpy middle of the season. But altogether, I had more good than I had bad. So it didn't really leave a bad taste in my mouth, like most things. So all around, I did enjoy Stranger Things. Will I watch it again? I already had a marathon watching all the way up to season 5, so I don't think I will watch it again. Probably until some years out the road. We'll have to wait and see. But other than that, what will Netflix do now? There's literally nothing on Netflix I care for watching for besides Scissor 7. And that feels like that's about to wrap up soon. Netflix needs to find their next golden goose before it's too late. Or else everyone's just dropping their subscriptions like crazy. We'll see. We'll see. So anyways, those are my thoughts on it. How do you feel about Stranger Things? Was it something special to you, or you were just along for the ride for a short term? or you didn't care for it at all. Either way, I would like to know. That's all I got for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, hit that bell icon. This has been Madcrown, all anime. Signing out.